So this is just a little overview video. If you don't think you need it, skip right ahead. But I'm going to be asking you questions and hopefully you can think about what's happening in each side, each part of the GI tract. So remember, eyes and nose, what happens? Remember that you're going to get sight and smell of food. You're going to trigger the cephalic phase of your gastric acid secretion. This through the vagal and cholinergic pathways. That's going to cause gastrin release, as well as motilin. It's just basically preparing the body for the food that is probably going to be coming soon. Next, we're going to go to the mouth. What does the mouth do? Any digestion here? Remember, there's both carbohydrate and fat digestion through amylase and lingual lipase. Remember that you're going to break down food into digestible pieces. And finally, you have saliva that lubricates the food. And first of all, we talked about digestion through the saliva, and it also lubricates it so that it can go down the esophagus better. Esophagus propels the food down into the stomach easy. What does the stomach do? What were the three functions of the stomach that we just talked about? Remember, first function, protein digestion. What were the things that the stomach releases to mediate this? Hydrochloric acid and pepsin from the parietal cells and chief cells respectively. Remember, what does chief cells release, to be exact? Pepsinogen. And how is that converted into pepsin? Through hydrochloric acid. What was the second function of the stomach? Remember, that was intrinsic factor release. What does intrinsic factor do? Remember, intrinsic factor binds to B12 and takes it all the way to the ileum to be absorbed. And what happens if you don't have intrinsic factor? Remember, you get that megaloblastic anemia because you need the vitamin B12 for red blood cell production. And anemia basically means you're not having enough red blood cells because you're not producing them. And what was the third function of the stomach? Third function of the stomach was food storage. It acts as a food reservoir so you don't overload the rest of your small intestine with all that food that you just ate from your buffet, from the Chinese buffet. Alright, next, small intestine. What is the main function of the small intestine? The main function is digestion and absorption of nutrients. And how do you get digestion? What was the main mediators? Remember, the main mediators were enzymes, digestive enzymes from the pancreas. Remember, what does the pancreas release? It releases proteases, it releases trypsin. Trypsin activates everything. It releases proteases, lipases, amylase. Remember, pancreas helps digest all of it. Remember, you also have the bile ducts. You have the bile ducts, you have the gallbladder. What does that release? It releases bile, and what is the importance of bile? Remember that bile is important because it helps emulsify our lipids so they can be digested. If you don't have bile, you don't digest lipids. What would happen then? You would get malabsorption of lipids, you get steatorrhea with the greasy stools and diarrhea, and you would get deficiencies in fat-soluble vitamins. And what were the fat-soluble vitamins? It was vitamins A, D, E, K, so ADEC. So, next is, once we get to the large intestine, what happens? Well, you've pretty much finished digesting everything you could digest, and now it's just reabsorption of water from the remaining undigestible food matter, and the rest of the large intestine works to just move the waste out of the body. And a little correlation here is that if you're if you're dehydrated, you're going to also be a little constipated. Why? Why would you be constipated? Because your dehydration is going to tell your body to reabsorb more water. You're going to reabsorb more water from your feces in the large intestine. It's going to become very hard stools. And that's what you get. You're going to get these like little goat-like pellets of stool because you took all the water out. So that's how you can get constipation. That's why dehydration can influence that. Finally, the rectum. What does the rectum do? The rectum basically stores and releases feces. So that's a little overview of the whole GI tract, whole big picture functions. Hopefully you can understand this and answer all the questions that I went through. And now we're going to go into pathology.